All right, guys, welcome back to the Frugal Homestead. So today I want to talk about meat prices because they're out of control. Now, going to your local store and buying meat, you're going to go poor. We just had it out with our kids the other night for buying a $20 pack of steaks. And I can't make people understand there's better ways to provide meat for your family. I'm not going to get into things like hunting and stuff. I just want to be like, if you want to go to the store and buy something, buy value. Now, one of the best values we've found is shopping at like Sam's or Costco. So if you have one of those close to you, you need to watch this video because we're going to show you how to bring beef home at a reasonable price. That said, we did buy a half a cow earlier this year. We ended up paying almost $8 a pound. Now that's great for ribeyes and those cuts, but if you get hamburger, you're paying $8 a pound for hamburger. So it's not a good breakdown. We want steaks. We want roasts. We want good fatty cuts that are closer to a ribeye and farther away from something that we would make into ground. So what we use is a chuck roll. If those of you that don't know what a chuck roll is, it is like the shoulder of the cow. And you can get these things, actually a complete chuck roll from Sam's or Costco. You just have to go ask them for it by name. Now, this is a chuck roll. All right, so you have to do some processing at home. That's the key. That's the deal. Now, honey, how much do these run for a pound, basically?
So we paid $5.48 a pound for the one that we have here, but currently they're like $5.78 a pound. So it can fluctuate within like 50 cents.
Now, Costco and Sam's Club have bulk deals where you can buy these in a case where you get like 4 or 5 of them. It's a lot of money. I think it's like $500, but you get a little bit of a price break, and if you got a big freezer, it'd be a good investment. Now, this one costs us $126.75, and it is going to make us tons of meals. Now, I am not a butcher. Don't worry about cutting the grain, all that stuff. I'm just going to show you the way I do it because it's fast and easy, and we're going to produce some amazing steaks and some nice chuck roasts, and we're going to be able to turn this into something very fast and very easy that's going to come out to just over $5 a pound. So literally cheaper than going and buying half a cow. So let's get started. Now, we have a hole somewhere here.
It's down on that end.
Because we drained out some of the blood just to make it a little cleaner of a process. But I need you guys to understand that the value in this is amazing, because if you look at the fat, and by the way, this is Black Angus. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and let Missy take care of that. But look at that, guys. Look at the marbling. And it smells amazing. So we're going to put this on here. Now, generally speaking, there's tons of videos online that'll talk about splitting it right here at this split all the way down. And that's not a bad idea. So let's go ahead and give that a shot on this time. And you just kind of take the knife and go right down the split. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't freak out. Good sharp knives are your friends, guys. Okay. So now we've got our first strip here. And as I'm looking at it, there's actually lines between the fat and the muscle tissue. So what do you think, honey? You think we should roast that?
I think so.
So let's go ahead and set this aside for a second. And then my wife's got pre-made bags she made up. And what I want to do is flip this over so I can start from this end, which is the thicker end. And first we're just going to make a knuckle roast off the end. Now, for those of you who don't know, we do a pretty heavy fat diet, like a keto, carnivore, mixed diet. So that marbling and fat is important for our diet. Now I'm just going to lay that down and she can deal with it. What I'm going to do now is just start slabbing off, 3/4 of an inch, 1 inch steaks. Or what we call steaks. They're not technically steaks. But we'll cook them as them, or I'll cut them up and tip them, whatever. So there's a roast, just a knuckle roast. I'm going to use that later for something. So just go ahead and roast it by itself.
Okay. When you're cutting these up, you always want to make sure that you date and label your bags. If you can do it ahead of time, it's always better. That way the permanent marker doesn't smear.
All right, babe. So let's throw those two down as steaks. Now these are going to be long, thin steaks because of the way I cut it, but that's what I want. And I can also take, if I don't want the true steak appeal, we put them in the serum and then put them in the pressure cooker and cook them. And they'll soften right up. But look at that, guys. Look at the marbling in that. I mean, that's going to cook up just like a normal steak and be delicious. So
that's what's for dinner.
And I am cutting some big steaks here. But like I said, our diet consists of about 75% meat with every meal. So cutting up big steaks is kind of a necessity unless we want to be cooking tons of them. I mean, look at that, guys. Look at the marbling in that. I mean, you can't beat that. So there's another two. Now, as we're getting in this thicker part, I may end up doing some other things. And just because we're cutting steaks doesn't mean we have to have steaks, guys. We'll cut them up into tips. You can chunk the meat up after or before you cook it. If you want to put it in Asian dishes or something, like stir fry it. There's so many options. My knife is getting a little dull. This one likes to dull out fast. So we'll use this one for a while. There we go.
That out of your way.
Now, the dogs are starting to get rowdy because they can smell it now. But it takes no time at all to process this. Now, what I'm going to do now is turn it this way. We're going to go ahead and come down the bottom. Paulo, you go lay down. You're not getting nothing. He's all up and excited. So I'm going to have you jump back to that knuckle roast I cut and add that. And then here's another roast. I mean, look at that. Look at the lines of the marbling in that roast. Look at the bottom. And then the top, we'll do this like a brisket. Drop it in, add a cup of water, and I will just cover this with this dry rub seasoning and let it cook. And then we'll slice it up super thin and either eat it with our fingers or slow cook it and turn it into kind of like a pulled beef. But back to our staking now, because you see I took the bottom off, which shortens the steak because we were starting to drift into nothingness. All right. Old Apollo's rolling around the floor because he can smell it. He thinks we're about to cook it up and he's going to have to have a taste test because he's the official taste tester of steak. And while there is a lot of fat, which we need in our diet, that's going to cook up just beautifully.
That's a perfect size steak.
Yep. And I normally would be able to do this a lot better, but because I'm trying to make this video shorter, I'm kind of hurrying. So, go back to the other one now. We're a little shorter. And this is the kind of steak you want. It's funny how everybody looks for the low-fat steaks and stuff. Not with our diet. We got to have the ones that's got the fat in it.
Plus, I think it makes for a juicier steak to have some fat
Overall,
in it.
better taste, definitely. And what I want to show you guys is, go look up what a chuck roast costs, or go look up what a chuck steak costs. Go to your local Kroger's, go to your local Walmart, Whole Foods, whatever, and get a Black Angus steak. Chuck steak, chuck roast. And I think you will freak out. Because honestly, the prices are getting completely ridiculous. But this is a way you can still feed these to your families. I mean, you want to talk about being the life of the party. You know, have you a football party and start throwing these steaks on that grill. People freak out. And we're still cutting steaks, guys. We will give you a count at the end of the video of what we ended up getting off this. Okay. Really going through it here. Now what I'm going to do here on the end is I'm going to slice this up, and it's going to be like strip steaks. And I'll cook them, and then I'll cut them up to use in like wraps, like burritos, or, you know, when we have the nights when we watch UFC and the kids come over, I still am cooking these as steaks, but I can use them as like different kinds of things for different kinds of meals, make it go longer. So we're going to go ahead and just put this all in one, and then we get to deal with this pretty big boy. You gonna do 2 out of that one? Yeah. I will add some to that.
Okay.
Off this tip here. That is some crazy marbling. Look at the layers, guys. So let's go ahead and put all that in there, and then that'll make that into a wrap. And then all I'm going to do is chunk this top up into roasts. Because the nice part about this is it almost matches exactly how a brisket is. So if you look at that, it's got layer after layer after layer. And then you've got some cap fat as we go farther back it. And we'll leave that fat up when we put it in the crock pot or the pressure cooker. And that fat will just break down and go through and over it. And then it's also nice because the fat gets real sticky. So if you put a dry rub seasoning on that, it's just going to eat it up. So let's go. This one's a little big, but that's okay. And you could lay this out and just trim the top off and make another steak if you wanted to. But I'm trying to get some roasts because it's a nice variant. But you literally, I'm going to do it just so I can show you. You could almost be butterflying it out, but I'll cut it off. But if you wanted to butterfly it, or I'm going to cut it off. Now you got 2 steaks. So I'll put it in whatever. My wife can put it in whatever bag she wants, and I'll cook it. But that's what I'm saying. You can trim this top portion off even more, and then make more out of it if you want. I'm personally just shooting for, and actually I'm going to do this different. I'm going to trim the bottom here to make a roast. I think I overran her bags. And then I'm going to take this top and I'm going to split it to make a roast. Look at that, guys. Look at the marbling inside there. That's going to be a good roast.
Juicy.
Same with this. Got a little cap fat there. We shake the seasoning down into it. Or actually rub it and marinade.
And obviously you make them any size that you need. Like for us, a little bit smaller roast is better because it's just the 2 of us.
Yes.
Obviously you make it bigger for larger families.
So we got 2 more roasts, and then we're going to let her take a count. I'm going to rinse my hands off.
I gotta grab a couple more bags.
No. I overran her bags completely. That's pretty good.
We'll mark them later. So what you making me tonight?
Steaks. All right, throw it in there. That way you can get your count going. We'll have to go back and label these 2, so we'll set them off to the side.
Always try and get all the air out of your bags as much as you can.
Definitely, because there's limited freezer space in most people's cases when you're dealing with stuff this big, because not only do we go get this stuff, but we'll go get other stuff. Like we get chicken legs there for somewhere in the neighborhood of 89 cents a pound. So, all right. So these are roasts?
Yep.
Okay. So we have, for the chuck roast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chuck roasts. And how many packs of steaks?
There's 9 packs, so there's 18 steaks.
9 packs, 18 steaks. So 18 steaks and 7 chuck roasts. Is that right?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So go add all that up. Go punch it up in your local Walmart online or punch it up on your local Kroger's and add that again. Look at this. Look at this for $126. I know it sounds like you're spending a lot of money, but if you're buying a pack that has 2 thin cut T-bone or sirloin steaks in it for $20 versus this.
Right.
I mean, do the math out, guys. Just look at the price per pound and you're going to know right then and there.
You're going to know how much of a deal it really is.
I really believe this is a big value. That's why we wanted to bring it to you. I know it was kind of long-winded because we butchered the whole thing on there, but I wanted you to see beginning to end how fast you could process and deal with this. Now, before my dog knocks the tripod over trying to get to us, I'm going to say I really appreciate you guys coming and watching the channel. I enjoy doing things like this to show you how to bring the value to your family that we bring to our family. Now, my wife sometimes doesn't like it because she's actually got to do something. But we do actually enjoy sharing with you guys. So,
and I enjoy him cooking.
Really? But if you haven't already, and I don't know why you wouldn't have, go down, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see all of our upcoming videos because you know you want to see more. Hit like, leave us a comment. What do you think of this as value? Do you know a better value than this? Honestly, we can't find anything better if you want to have true beef all around. Buying a cow is great, but I can go buy Black Angus 70/30 for $3 a pound. So paying $8 a pound doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you scale things. But this gives us everything we need. It has a high enough fat content that it's a quality steak. It's not going to turn into horseshoe leather when you cook it.
But we are always looking for other values to lower our food bill. So if you guys have any other suggestions, please drop them in the comments below because we will definitely look at it.
Food is doing nothing but going up. So until next time, we will see you. Now, you're cooking tonight.
What? I did all the work.
Really?
Who do you guys think should cook?
Tell us in the comments who should cook tonight.